is what I do every day. We call it barbershop talks. I mean, the story of how my dad first started out, back in the 50s, we started in 1952. He started around the corner near the black theater, African American, because it was segregated. So they had a black theater right around the corner. Everything was in that little area. That was the black hub. You had your funeral home, you had 2 grocery stores, you had 3 people who basically had little small mini motels. Right across the street was Miss Duhart, who her husband was a preacher over at the Church of God, Reverend Duhart. And they also owned a laundromat, and upstairs they would have rooms. And then you had Mason's grocery store, and upstairs and his upstairs above that they had rooms, because and then my dad had some rooms. He had about 5. So when you came to that area, you're African American back in the 50s, if you've seen the movie called The Blue Book, they would know where to come to rent a room, because we couldn't rent couldn't rent anywhere. So that was kind of that area up there, and most of the people were employed in that area at UNC or UNC Hospital. They were the guys who laid the rocks and did all the construction, which has changed hands since then. And back then it was still more of a rural community, and most of the people still worked in the country, and they still worked on farms and sawmills and that sort of thing. And every Friday, they would all come into town. They got, they had the little clubs, the little speakeasies, right around in that little area up there, believe it or not. They had several little speakeasies. And they would all come uptown. He said they'd come in, and he used to have showers in the back of the barbershop. So in the rural area in the 50s, a lot of people still didn't have running water yet. So they would come up to the shop, they would take a shower, get a haircut, go out, drink, and fight all night, come back, take another shower, and then go back to work for Monday. Everybody knew my dad. Everybody knew Stephen Edwards. Even when he tried to retire on me, I would make him come to work, because most of the African Americans had to go north. The mass migration, what they called it, to the north, because they could not get jobs here. The only jobs they could get were janitors or cooks or housekeepers at UNC or around town and working in the restaurants. And so a lot of them left here. And when they came back, the first place they always would be to the shop to see my dad. And I made him, he was in his 70s, I made him come to work. I said, just come and sit. People come to see you. You know what I mean? He was good for business, But everybody knew me because of him, yes. They did a lot of barbershop talk, which barbershop talk is the kind of talk that, the guys come up there complaining about the wife with stuff they couldn't say at home. That's barbershop talk. Or just shooting, we call it shooting the bull. They did a lot of barbershop talk, but keeping up with current events. And everybody had a voice. And everybody respected the other person's opinion. Every blue moon you had to call somebody to order. They might get a little rowdy, but that seldom happened. And yes, it's still the same. You come up there, and that's where you got, especially back before cell phones, that's where you got your news. That's where news would, just permeate throughout the neighborhood. It's from the barbershop, because I heard such and such having a party, such and such died, this person's having an anniversary, this church is doing this program. A lot of that information would come through the barbershop.